All right, Coach, after looking at the film from last night against Colorado, what was your biggest takeaway?
The biggest takeaway for me is that I've got to do a better job. I'm responsible for everything that's on that tape, and everybody owns a little piece of it, but I own all of it. And so I've got to do a better job, and we've got to coach better, we've got to play better, execute better, and it's not any like we're not looking to play the blame game. We're looking to fix things and get better, because that's what this is all about. That's certainly one game. It's a missed opportunity because it was a big game with all the national spotlight and things of that nature. And but at the same time, that's gone now. We can't let yesterday beat us this week. We got to make sure that we've learned from it, we grow from it, we understand the urgency to get better, how quickly we've got to get better, and then move forward. And it certainly it stinks. Losing stinks. It always has. It always will. And it just eats at your gut. But at the same time, if we expect our players to move on as coaches, we've got to do that as well.
Ted, you look at getting pressure, applying pressure. I know that was a focus in fall camp. You guys talked about wanting to be aggressive.
Yeah.
What has it been? Has it been something schematically? Has it been the fact that you face some teams where they've gotten the ball out quicker? I mean, what's kind of when it comes to applying pressure to the quarterback?
Yeah, some of it is, you made a good point. Some of it is, teams are, like when we played TCU, the average get off was like 2.04 seconds, which is 1,001, 1,002, and the ball's gone. But at the same time, we've missed some opportunities, and we played a lot of base defense the first 2 weeks of the season because that's what we wanted to focus on. But our deal, we've got to be aggressive, we've got to attack, and we've got to scheme some things up. And we had a couple last night, and we missed a handful as well. So we just got to as coaches do great jobs and improve, and at the same time ask the players to do the same things.
Patrick talked on Monday about miscommunication at TCU. There looked to be some miscommunication yesterday. How do you improve that going into a hostile environment this week?
Well, it's something we continually harp on, communication, and an environment like last night at home when it's loud on when the opposition has the ball on third down. That's a wonderful thing. But we had worked on that. We had used crowd noise for us in our third down periods defensively. So it's something we work on. There were some lapses in it last night at times, and again, that's an area that we've got to continue to improve in, and everybody's got to take ownership of it and understand the repercussions if you don't do it. It's not something that's like a little something. All these things that like some people think are little things, they're all big things, and a sense of urgency to improve in every area, and that is certainly one of them.
You had the extra time to prepare coming out of the bye week. Did Colorado show you anything differently than you had prepared for?
Well, what they did is they were predominantly about 80% of the time they were in 4 wideouts and 1 running back, and last night they went into 11 personnel, which includes a tight end, 67% of the time. So they totally flipped the script on what they had done. They had some success against the previous opponent running the ball, so they were more committed to the run to show some balance. And then when they put the tight end and the running back in the backfield together, you got the counter, you got the zone, and you got the 7-man protection for the shots with the receivers. So they had done some different things, and at times we handled it well, and at times we didn't.
Opening drive, you guys got, I think it was a 3-and-out with an interception.
Yeah.
What did Colorado maybe shift after seeing that first look, or what did you see in that maybe you guys weren't able to replicate?
Well, what they did the first series, there were some screens involved, and then we got some pressure on the third down. We had a guy running free to hit the quarterback, and he evaded him and threw it back over the middle. And Deshaun had done a good job reading the quarterback and came back with his eyes and picked it off. And that was a really good start for us. But unfortunately, we didn't sustain that. So it's just we've got to keep. I don't want to sound like a broken record, man, but we just got to keep working to get better, and got to have a sense of urgency to do that, and understand again how important these things called little things are. Little things make big things happen.
How would you evaluate the secondary from last night and the coverage of their receivers? Obviously, they got some great players like Travis Hunter, but how would you evaluate those guys? Yeah,
they're very talented. They've got some really talented guys, and at times we were good, and at times we weren't good. So it's a blend of that.
Ted, you get Florida this week. What do you see from the Gators so far? They've had a bye week now. Obviously, they have their own challenges as well. What have you seen from this Gators offense maybe that will be challenging for you guys?
Well, you know, anytime you go into a place like that, an environment like that as a road opponent, you know, you got to embrace that, and you got to attack that. And you know, we're looking forward to it, and you know, thank goodness there's another game coming up, so that way, last night's not our last game, you know, so there's another opportunity, and it's again not letting last night beat us next Saturday. So, you know, there's a very multi-dimensional on offense. You know, they've got good players. They've had highly ranked recruiting classes. They've got good players. They've got, you know, good coaches, and it's a challenge for us, and at the same time, you know, a fantastic opportunity.
Florida uses a 2-quarterback system. What's the challenge, and what's something that you like facing a system like that?
Well, I have not seen enough of it yet to speak on that. We spent today. We watched our game tape about 3 times now, and you know, now we're going to move on to Florida. And I briefly got to glance at some. I watched a lot of them this summer in my summer study, but you know, and I've coached against Coach Napier a couple times before, and you know, they've always had good offenses, and you know, they've got good. Like I said, they've got good players. They've got a good scheme, and you know, but we've got to make sure this week that we've got a huge focus on getting us better, and then letting the chips fall where they may.
On that point, what adjustments can you make to not be as susceptible to the short passing game?
Well, you know, you can drop 8, you can play man coverage, you can, you know, because when you're rushing 4 and they're getting 5 out, you know, 5 short out, and, you know, it's unless you're going to play certain types of coverages, which you don't want to play against the team we just played because it isolates people in space and makes people play with their back to the ball. You know, you've got to be able to move and match off the quarterback's vision and off his eyes, and you know, so that's when then you get the horizontal passing game going with vertical threats. That's something that stresses defenses.
We saw TCU able to stretch you guys vertically like Colorado was. What needs to be tweaked, or what's the challenge of you know, you being maybe nickel and dime to set that up? But how do you guard against
Well, you know, people can say it's this or it's that. In reality, rush and coverage work together. The more people you add to the rush, the less time the quarterback should have to throw the ball. Okay, and then the more people you add to the coverage, the more time the quarterback may have to throw the ball, because you get into, you know, 3-man rushes and things like that. So, so it all goes hand in hand, and you know, when your pass rush is clicking, those guys don't have to cover as long. And if you're blanketing guys, then that gives your pass rush a little bit more time to get home. So it works hand in hand with one another.
How's that pass rush kind of developing with the guys at defensive end? I know Malachi Lawrence has been here, Nigel Kelly. I know some of the other guys are trying to rotate a little bit more. How are those guys kind of coming along?
Well, it's a work in progress. You know, we're obviously got a ways to go, but at the same time, I'm pleased with how they're working. It's not an effort thing. So, you know, we just got to keep grinding and until we get there, and then we got to grind some more.
Ted, you got Deshaun Pace had another interception on Saturday. What have you seen from him in that linebacker spot, and how he's been able to showcase so far in the first quarter?
Well, he's a really instinctual player. He's got great vision. He's great instincts, and you know, he saw the quarterback moving, and so he was supposed to be a hook player over to the right, but he saw the quarterback scramble, and he moved his zone, and then the quarterback, you know, threw it back to him. So he made a great play on the ball. So very instinctual and really good vision, and that's usually a pretty good combination.
You talked about the DBs having their back to the ball sometimes. What do you have to do to teach them to get their head around?
Well, that's in certain coverages.
Yeah.
That's in certain coverages. But what we do is, that's what we teach. We teach to get your eyes back around once you've got the route under control in certain coverages, because then, you know, when you turn and you're playing the ball, there's a lot less chance for a defensive PI. And when you get your defensive pass interference, it's usually when you're running with your back to the quarterback and you're not looking back for the ball, and that's when more of the flags come out for DPI. So, you know, as a base way of teaching, we want to be able to play the football and attack the ball. So that's how we do it.
When did you face Billy Napier? Was that when you were at App State?
Yeah.
And he was at Louisiana?
Yeah.
Through 2 conference games, the Knights have given up 82 points, average 41 per game. How do you think the defense is better than it was a year ago?
I don't compare it to a year ago. I don't play the compare game. I compare it to what we were yesterday. So just compare it to us getting us better. I don't play that game.
And how do you avoid? You mentioned this a little bit earlier, but letting this kind of snowball into effect. Last year I know UCF lost a game and then it turned into like a 5-game losing streak. What do you guys as coaches need to do to make sure this doesn't become like another Saturday as you mentioned earlier on?
Yeah, you just go back to work. That's all I know to do. There's no magic dust. There's no magic formula that you do. You just go back to work and you're very honest and you're very real and you point out mistakes and you look in the mirror to see what you could have done better and how you can improve and how you can help your players improve. And that's the formula. And then come out with a great attitude and work your butt off.
Anything else? All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right, sure.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.